Yo, got an MPC tier list that I've been working on for quite a while now. Unconsciously buying all these MPCs, I was building up to it, and I finally got it done. Finally got too many MPCs. I gotta get rid of some of them, especially ones I don't touch a lot. This tier list is not based on any type of empirical data. It's only based on my experience with each machine. And yes, I own every machine in this video, or I've owned it in the last year. I got rid of a couple of them. And again, this is only my opinion. And take that with a grain of salt. I've never had any placements. I made an album in the 2000s. I was the producer and I had a bunch of rap buddies on the album. It wasn't a particularly good album, but it wasn't the rappers, it was me. I was stuck in that boom bap era, but it's what I love and what I always wanted to make. But I digress. With this tier list, you'll see the progression of the MPC over 30 years. And I'll mix this list up slightly. So here we go.
You're a big dummy there. I'm not kidding you. You're a big dummy.
The MPC 500. Let's start with an easy one. The MPC 500. And let's go with the blurb from Scratch Magazine back in 2007. They can explain the MPC 500 better than I ever could. 6 AA batteries could power this baby boy. The perfect thing to take on trains, planes, and automobiles. With built-in flash memory, a USB port, and expandable memory up to 128 megabytes. There's not a lot that you'll miss from your full-size MPC. For those in the crew that can't leave home without it, the MPC 500. Let's place the MPC 500 on the D tier. It's the lowest tier for us, but I didn't include an F tier because no MPC deserves to be on the F tier. They're all great machines. The MPC 2000 Classic. The MPC 2000 is the first post-Roger Lynn MPC. It was released in 1997. Working with the 2000 reminds me of the 2000 XL. I owned the 2000 XL first, so using this was a breeze. It has a great and different jog wheel than all the other MPCs. The only other one I can compare it to is the 4000. The 4000 jog wheel is slightly different also. They should have incorporated this unique jog wheel or data wheel into the later MPCs. The 2000 has an onboard looper, expandable sample memory, and 16-bit sampling. Today you can find units that have been expanded with the 8 audio outputs. My major gripe with this MPC is that it does not have track mutes. Track mutes became a staple of future MPCs. Once this MPC rolled out, we didn't have to worry about sample time any longer. With the expandable memory, it had 3 minutes and 30 seconds of sample time, which is a substantial amount of sample time, especially compared to the earlier MPCs. Like the 60, even with expandable memory, had only 26 seconds. So the sample time was great on the 2000 Classic. It had a 64 track sampler sequencer that comes with the 2 megabytes of sample memory standard, and it was expandable to 32 megabytes, the same as the 2000 XL. It supports a sampling rate of 44.1 kilohertz with a 16-bit stereo or mono. We'll place this MPC on the C tier. It's a perfectly passable MPC, the MPC 60 and the MPC 62. The MPC 60 was released in 1988. In 1988, your mama learned to skate. She hit a pole, a titty road in 1988. I don't know why that sticks in my head every time I hear 1988. And the MPC 62 was released in 1991. The differences between the two is the look. The 62 has a headphone jack, which gave birth to the bedroom producer, the producer who can go in his room, put his headphones on, and tap out a beat. If you live with your parents at that time, you don't have to disturb your mother. And if you live in an apartment complex, you don't have to disturb your neighbors. The original MPC 60 is beautiful in appearance with this gray on gray aesthetic, while the Make 2 or the MPC 62 looks like an old school cash register. Hence the name, the cash register MPC. The MPC 60 comes stock with 13 seconds of sample time, and with a rather pricey memory upgrade, the sample time can be expanded to 26 seconds. You can add a SCSI drive to the MPC 60. However, you'll need to update the operating system, the OS. And it's not like today where you can just flash the OS. You had to actually buy EEPROMs and place them on the motherboard of the MPC for that upgrade. We'll place the original MPC 60 in the S tier. And because it's the very first MPC, it advances past the MPC 62, which we'll place on the A tier. The MPC 62 had a lower price point, and it had a more rugged construction because of the plastic shell. By today's standards, the MPC 60 is very limited, and most functions on the 60 are very, very time consuming. Especially if you're using a floppy drive. It takes a long time with the SCSI expansion also. I mean, to save a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, simple sounds. Sometime with the floppy drive, it could take 30, 45 seconds. And by that time, you know, your inspiration may have left. The MPC-X. While I didn't own the original MPC-X, I do have the X Special Edition. The original was released in 2017, and the Special Edition was released in 2023. The MPC-X is like the Super Saiyan form of the MPCs. It's the flagship MPC. It has everything. It has many plugins and sounds. It has over 10 gigabytes of built-in sounds. It has a built-in synth. It has the AKAI OS, which is now up to the 3.0 OS. The AKAI 3.0 OS now supports stems. It has stem support. It is the largest and most expensive of the newer MPCs. It has unrivaled standalone performance with the most internal storage, the most memory, the most hardware controls with the Q-Links. And it has more of those options than any Beat Machine groove boxes on the market today. It has audio track recording. You can record audio directly into the MPC-X. Has improved time warp. Although I like the time stretch better rather than the time warp. It has a better sound. It has enhanced Q-Link control. And it has audio and MIDI. Drag and drop. The Special Edition has 4 gigabytes of RAM. And it has 48 gigabytes of storage. And that's including the 10 gigabytes of user storage. With the newer NPCs, I don't enjoy them as much as the older ones. It's almost like working on a computer in the box. And this was out of the newer NPCs, from the 1 all the way up until the newest one that was released with the keys, the Key 37. It's the only one with a tilt screen, and it has a rather large 10-inch screen on it too. It has the largest screen ever in an MPC. It was missing from the 1, missing from the Live 2, and the 1 Plus, and both of the keys. With the MPC-X, the Special Edition, we'll place this on the A tier of MPCs. The MPC 2500. The MPC 2500, the big brother of the MPC 1000. It is a larger version of the very same MPC. It is less portable, but just as good. You can add JJOS to the 2500, the same as the 1000 again. This is one of my newer MPCs, so I haven't used it as much as some of the other MPCs. However, it's a very competent MPC. It added BPM chopping, and you can also add a CD-ROM drive to it. It came with the CF card reader, along with the ability to access the drives on the MPC from your computer. It had the USB port on the back. The 2500 has a larger footprint than the 1000, but you can still place it comfortably on your workstation or desk. With this and the future MPCs, all the MPCs that came after it, you really didn't have to worry about sample time anymore. There was more than enough memory in the MPCs from this point on. Memory had become so cheap at this time, even in personal computers and PCs. We'll place the MPC 2500 on the B tier of MPCs. A very accomplished MPC. The MPC-1. The MPC-1 is the modern beginner MPC. It has the same OS and features as the MPC-X, as the Live 2, but with the smaller footprint. It has the best jog wheel out of all the MPCs. Well, it really has the same jog wheel as the One Plus. The 37 key I've never had or touched the 61 key. And the X has a different jog wheel. They should have implemented the one jog wheel into the X. Of course, the X came out first, but the Live came out before the X, so they could have put the same jog wheel there. It has the scroll and enter in one place with that old school jog wheel of the One and One Plus. The newer MPCs, the One, the X, the Live, they're more workstation based, where you can do anything inside the box. It could be the center of your studio. You can run your effects through it, or you can just use it to make beats and export your beats into, your Pro Tools, your Logic, whatever you use. You're able to. The One has a touchscreen, a very nice 7-inch touchscreen. It has the transport and control buttons of the old school MPC 2000 XL, but it has that new style jog wheel, data wheel. The One Plus was released a couple years after the original one, and really it's the same machine. It just adds Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities. Also adds slightly more memory. The MPC 1 and 1 Plus will place on the B tier. With the newer MPCs, you really only need one. They're all mostly the same. It's all preference. The MPC 4000. The MPC 4000 was released in 2002. It is the largest and heaviest MPC. This MPC should exist in a tier all of its own. It's the most complicated MPC. It's more complicated than the MPCs that were released after it. It's more complicated than the 5000, than 1000, 2500. It's even more complicated than the new MPC AKAI OS. Like, you have to really figure out what you're doing with the 4000 to really appreciate it. And with me, I'm a little biased against the MPC 4000 because I find it harder to figure out. Most of the other MPCs I can pick up, I don't need to know anything about them. I can just make them work. They all mostly work the same. The MPC 4000 was different. They added so much to it, all in one machine. It's a big step up or down, depending on how you view the 2000 XL. There was a major change to the sampler section, and I find it harder to sample with the 4000, but I'm sure if it was my only MPC and I used it every day, I would just get used to it. I can't figure out the multi-screen where you add your programs. You can have multiple programs and use them. I was used to with programs, you just add your sounds and it worked. Like, I didn't know there was so many extra steps with the 4000. And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just not intelligent enough to figure out the 4000, or I don't want to take the time to do it. With the MPC 4000, I haven't figured out a stable workflow yet. Like, if I use it as my only MPC for like a month straight, every day I have it, but I have so many MPCs that I like to go through. And it's so large that I really don't like to pull it out and put it on my desk, because I can't really sit a computer next to it and work. It lowers the grade for me slightly because of the workflow with the 4000. And I take full responsibility for not taking the time to fully learn this MPC. I just don't have the time at this point. The other MPCs, as I said, I can get going instinctively rather than just fumbling around on this until I finally get a good beat or get the sound I want or set up my programs how I want and my polyphony. It was the first MPC to include a phono preamp, so you can hook your turntable directly to it. You didn't need a mixer as a go-between. The MPC 4000 features 24-bit sampling power, CD-R drive, 4-bus multi-effects processor, multi-mode filters, and 2 assignable LFOs. The 4000 is also compatible with WAV files that can be connected to an external hard drive. It was the first MPC that removed the floppy disk drive. With me, we'll place this MPC on the A tier. It has the potential to be on the S tier. And based on my original video when I first bought the 4000, there's a lot of people out there that would rate this as the very best MPC. It's just not me. I can't get used to it. The MPC Live. The MPC Live was released in 2017 along with the MPC X. The Live 2, the second edition, was released in 2020. I've never owned the original Live, but I've owned 2 Live 2s, 2 Live Crew, 2 Live 2s. They both had technical issues. Both were battery related. One, the battery wouldn't charge at all, and one would only work with battery power, but it wouldn't allow me to charge it either. It worked while the battery was up, and as soon as the battery died, it didn't work at all. And the other, it would work when plugged in, but it wouldn't run off battery power. The MPC Live was the first MPC released with a built-in lithium-ion battery. The MPC 500 was the first battery-powered MPC, but this one had the built-in battery. The built-in battery lasted 6 hours, so if you had a flight or if you just need to tap out a quick beat, you could get some good time with it. If you made a beat with a lot of plugins and a lot of samples, that battery would go down faster. From my experience, the battery lasted maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours, but that's just me. The MPC Live was AKAI's first new standalone MPC in over a decade. Well, since the MPC 5000. Had a 7-inch touchscreen, so I had a screen larger than most of the older MPCs. However, it didn't have a tilt screen. It had 16 gigabytes of built-in storage, 4 outputs, and a phono preamp. Meaning, again, you can hook your turntable directly to the MPC and sample into it instead of needing to go between with the mixer. It had 4 programmable Q-Link knobs, and it had a clickable large jog wheel. That's very important. When I got the MPC X and it didn't have that clickable jog wheel, I was very, very disappointed. Although the X does have a very nice jog wheel, It's very tactile and nice to the touch. But I wanted the clickable jog wheel of the 1 and the Live and the Live 2. And it's even on, I don't have the 61 key, but it's on the 37 key also. The Live 2 is the only MPC with built-in speakers. Speakers sound very nice. They're not, very loud, trunk rattling speakers, but they work. They sound nice. We'll place the Live 2 on the B tier. And it's for personal reasons that I've had with it. As with this whole list is all personal to me. So again, don't take my advice on this, but I don't think the engineering was perfected on the Live 2. Like I've seen, since posting those videos, I've seen many people that say, I had the same issue. We really need a class action lawsuit against AKAI for this Live 2. Like, it's cost me a lot of money. The second one that conked out on me, I did get it fixed under warranty. I was 9 months in. So I only had to pay to ship it there, and they shipped it back. They worked, but as soon as it hit my door, I sold it. And I paid $11.99 for it, and I only sold it for $7.99. So, and it was only 9 months old, so I lost a quick $400 on that. And I want my $400 back, AKAI. Send me my check. The MPC 1000. The MPC 1000 was released in 2004. It was my very first MPC. I started with the ASRX, and I didn't like it. I couldn't get used to it, and I upgraded to the MPC 1000. It was the beginner MPC for many years. I think now the beginner MPC is the MPC 1. It comes standard with 16 megabytes of sample memory, upgradable to 128 megabytes, has an integrated suite of effects. The main feature of the MPC 1000, which is not really a feature, but it's portability. It is small and flat. You can stick it in your backpack and be gone and don't even have to think twice about it. My MPC 1000 is next level. I added a larger screen, I added a battery to make it even more portable, changed the jog wheel to the old school MPC 2000 XL type jog wheel, which is easier to turn, it's not as flat. I literally love this MPC. It sits prominently in my workspace. I use it for everything. If I'm using some of the older samplers, the 60, the 62, the 3000, even the 2000 XL, I'll chop my samples up in a 1000 and resample them into the older machines. It's small, it's right there. It can sit right next to my computer. It just works. It is very similar to the 2500, the AKAI MPC OS and the JJ OS. And yes, you can upgrade the OS to the JJ OS. And I've had 3 or 4 MPC 1000s. Just recently got my first 2500. I've even looked when I was purchasing both. It's hard to find one without JJOS on it. It's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, on almost all of them. With the larger screen that I have on mine, it comes the free version of JJOS, but you can still save your project with the version that comes with the larger screen. And this may be a controversial opinion. This may be the high watermark of MPC releases. All future MPC releases were at this level, equivalent, or below. I don't think any after the 1000 was a step above. I would place the 1000 on the top tier, yes, the S tier. The MPC 5000. The MPC 5000, released in 2008. The MPC 5000 was a very controversial MPC when it was released. But I won't take any of that into account. With the subsequent OS updates, it became a very usable and passable MPC. It featured a large screen, 4 faders, 4 knobs, and a sleek all-black design. It has a 3-oscillator virtual synth engine and analog multi-mode filter, and an 8-track hard disk recorder. My issue with the 5000 is that I can't find a good used one. And let me rephrase that, I can't find a good used one at a reasonable price. I finally found one that works for cheap. I paid $650 for it. My only issue with it is that it has weird discoloration on the side panels, and the screen has what appears to be watermarks on it, little circles, and I don't know if the camera will get that. The MPC 5000 is also the very first MPC with the built-in synth, which for me comes in handy for bass lines. For me, this MPC feels very different than the rest of the MPCs. It shouldn't be faulted for that. It's more me. I can't fit the 5000 into my rotation. I'll have my main ones on my workstation, and I'll work in the other ones every couple months. And I don't enjoy working on a 5000, so it rotates in far less than any of the other ones. I will place the MPC 5000 on the C tier. The MPC 3000. The MPC 3000 was released in 1993. It was a highly evolved version of the 60s to me. And for me, it has the Velixi OS and is very similar to the Vimana OS on the 60. They are virtually the same. The 3000 is a little bit faster and it has more sample memory. The MPC 3000 is the grand champ of all MPCs in many producers' opinions. The 3000 has larger sampling time of 22 seconds, upgradable to 3 minutes, can hold up to 32 megabytes of memory. The 3000 was the second and last collaboration between Roger Lynn and AKAI. It added sampling in stereo, 16-bit sampling. It also had delay and an excellent sound filter. This is my favorite MPC to work with. It sits prominently on my desk and never moves, along with the 1000. If you're looking for a classic drum machine, you really can't go wrong with the 3000. I do have a few issues with it though. The first issue for the 3000 is with waveforms when sampling. If this could have had the 2000 XL type sample waveform, it would have been great. I know a lot of you gonna say you sample by ear or all your purists, but I like a waveform. It works better for me that way. Also, I wish you could audition sounds before you load them. The machine is slow, so a lot of times you load sounds and it's not the sound you're looking for, especially if you don't label them correctly. Then you have to go back and reload the sound, and it can take time. My last issue with the 3000 is that it costs
$100 billion.
Like literally, look at this. And I was looking for an LE version. 6,000, 7,000. Wow, the regular version, 3,000, 4,000. Jeez. It is a great tool for samples and loops. It has a great interface. Overall, the MPC 3000 is a great choice for producers and DJs who are looking for a powerful and versatile drum machine and sampler. It is very intuitive and easy to use. You can literally figure this boy out without the manual, or nowadays without a YouTube tutorial. If you're looking for the classic drum machine and sampler, the 3000 is a great choice, and I would say the best choice. You can't go wrong with it. For me, and I'm sure with almost everyone, we're going to place the 3000 on the S tier. If there was a tier higher than the S, the 3000 would be on it. The MPC 2000 XL. The MPC 2000 XL was released in the year 2000, Y2K. It was billed as the MPC 2000 on steroids. It is the most popular MPC. And due to its popularity, you can still find these MPCs at reasonable prices on the secondary market, including eBay and Reverb. Had all the features of the 2000 Classic, but added features that will become very popular to beat makers and producers worldwide. It included track mutes, which is very important even today in the MPCs. It introduced time stretching and a more versatile file management system. What I like most about it is that it brought back the tilt screen that was absent on the 2000 Classic. As the most cost-effective MPC yet, upon its release, the MPC 2000 XL opened the door for a whole new generation of MPC users. The XL borrows elements from the 2000, but features larger sample memory, a time-stretching algorithm, auto-chopping, and a tilt screen. But I wouldn't advise using the time stretching or the auto chopping. It takes a really long time on the 2000 XL. I would place the 2000 XL on the A tier. It's one of the best MPCs ever made. It sold more than any other MPC in history, and many of your favorite producers use this MPC. The reason why it's not on the S tier, which it very well should be, is for personal reasons for me. Like, it seemed like every 2000 XL that I purchased, something was wrong with it, even if it looked perfect on paper. I had 3 of them. I have the blue one now, and when I purchased it, I paid a little more for it. I think I paid like $800, and they said everything was A-okay on it. Still had a floppy drive. And when I went to put the MCD drive in it, the CF card reader, not even an SD card on it, some of the pins were swapped. It was giving power to one of the pins, so it burnt out the drive that I had. And the very first one had a floppy drive too, and I had a hard time getting it to recognize the CF card reader that I installed, but eventually I got it to work. The MPC Key 37. The MPC Key 37 was released in 2024. It is basically an MPC 1 with the key bed. It has 37 keys to go along with the usual 16 touch-sensitive pads of an MPC. The keys support aftertouch, and there are dedicated pitch bend and modulation wheels. Further controls come via the 4 signable Q-Link knobs. My wife purchased this for me for Valentine's Day. That's how I really know she secretly watched these dumb videos. I mentioned the MPC Key 37 in one of the videos, and then I see her dragging it out of the closet on Valentine's Day. I had to put in extra work that night. As I've said, if you've worked on any of the newer MPCs, you've worked on them all. I used it for a couple weeks after I got it, and I haven't had a chance to put it back in rotation yet, but it's coming. In terms of hardware specs, has 2 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage, 16 of which is available as user storage. It's also an SD card slot. I will place the MPC Key 37 on the C tier. It's a great MPC, it has a nice color to it, and it's not bad to work on, but I'm not a keyboard player. I took adult piano lessons and I don't remember any of it. The only thing I do remember is I could read music, so. And there you have it. I know a lot of you guys won't agree with my tier list, but again, it's my list. It's how I feel. I know the 2000 XL should probably be placed on the top tier, the S tier, and some may think the 5000 should be placed higher. And I know y'all think the 1000 should be lower on the list. I know, but it's just how I feel at this time. It's due to my own personal experiences. And let me know in the comments which MPC you disagree with, which you agree with. What's your favorite MPC? And if you made it this far, you might as well get a video a like. I mean, come on, press another button. And that's it. Thanks for watching.